Welcome everyone to the MedSpa Accelerator Podcast, brought to you by Everwell Marketing, the go-to resource so you can get the latest hacks and best practices to market and grow a profitable medical aesthetics practice. My name is Maripili and I am obsessed with all things business, marketing, operations, numbers, and helping you grow and take your MedSpa to the next level. This is the MedSpa Accelerator Podcast, Season 2. Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Good to be back.
Yes. Have you been liking our event series so far?
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. I love events. We do events. They're kind of like our home run campaigns that we do for our clients. And so I love talking about them. It's cool.
Yeah, right? Me too. Yeah. I especially like to know the results.
For sure.
I really enjoy like the whole process, the planning, the strategies, the how can we do it better, what can we do next, but it does not compare as much as like when we actually see the whole picture and what happened afterwards.
What happens, and then how much money clients make, and they're excited because they make they'll make a good amount in a very short time period, and obviously it's fun for everybody, right?
So, of course, which is why we wanted to do this particular episode. We wanted to tell you exactly what happens, right? And what are the possibilities when you're planning an event? How much potential revenue is there to be made? Mm-hmm. And there's nothing like stories. So today's episode is going to be story time.
Yeah, story time, success stories that we've had with some of our clients for their event campaigns. And
this might also trigger some ideas about what you can do for your events.
For sure.
But before we go into that, you know what to do. We would love to hear from you. So if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, please do leave us a review. We would love to hear from you. And so wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure to check it out, leave that review, ask us questions, some comments. We would love to hear it all. And if you like video, we also do have a YouTube channel. So if you can head over there, subscribe, hit that notification bell, also leave a thumbs up, a comment, all of those things definitely help for us to keep making these videos.
Yes. And last but not least, make sure to check out our Facebook group if you want to be part of a community and you want to ask us more detailed questions. Pili and I are on there. And so if you have any questions or comments or things that you're struggling with, we can obviously go on there and answer some of those. But we also have an amazing community of other people just like you going through the same things that we can all kind of help each other out with. So
love that.
The links are below. Check them out and we hope to see you there.
Okay, so where do we start this? Because we've made and we've done so many events and they've had amazing results.
We've had a numerous amount of events, and I think what we decided to do for this episode is try to highlight the ones that were a little bit unique and maybe some different scenarios, right? And so we highlighted one that was kind of done or that could be done for let's just say for December. And we had another one that was for Black Friday. And we had another one that you can just kind of do throughout. I mean, this particular client actually did it for the month of December as well. But the way that they did it was actually very unique in regards to the season. And so we'll share those experience, like what they did specifically and what their experience was. And I guess we'll start with that first one.
Yeah, because we also can talk about like the different structures of the event. So in our last episode or 2 episodes ago, we talked about the different event structures that you can have. So we want to highlight one of each too. And
so the first one that we'll talk about was a client that did 10 days of holiday.
Yes. Yeah. This actually started as a 12 days of beauty campaign. Yeah. That was the original thing. And so we've done this in several ways with different clients. Again, it really does depend on your ideal audience and the culture, and just make it special and fun and unique, right? So we've done this a few ways. And so the idea of the concept that we had with this is that we were going to present a different special each day. Yeah. And we've done it in several ways, right? So for this particular client, they are a full MedSpa with so many different services. So each day we presented a new offer, a special offer for different services, whether that be Botox, fillers,
lasers.
Lasers, like we had one for each day. And so the thing about it too is that we added an element of buying online. So whenever we sent that out for each day, they could also purchase online, and it would be almost like a voucher. So the MedSpa had that inside like the front desk. So whenever somebody would come in, they knew they had already purchased that specific special.
And so we were sending out a series of text messages, right? Or a series of emails. And so every day there was a text message and an email that got sent out. There was also obviously a series of social media posts that were all going out. So everything was planned out. It was cohesive. All the messaging was the same. So let's say the first day of beauty, right, or whatever you want to call it, was Botox, the special on Botox, right? And so if people wanted to link to that, they clicked on the link. They actually got to go to a landing page that we designed for them that had a whole checkout process, and they could ultimately choose to buy that promotion. Yeah, that particular offer. And so that was really, really neat, because I think one of the advantages of doing it this way is that the client didn't really need to do anything. You know, people were just buying online, which is actually pretty great, you know.
They also had the option of calling and buying, like if they wanted to do it through the phone. So that was also really nice.
And you should definitely have both, because, you know, I mean, some people might be a little bit older. They don't feel comfortable putting their credit card online, even though maybe, you know, it's nothing against the business or whatever, but they just don't feel comfortable doing that, right? And so to each their own. And so again, just make it easy for people to say yes. It's like, hey, if you don't want to purchase online, give us a call and we'll do it over the phone. Like it's no big deal. And so it's like basically client was like, you know, obviously online is great and all because you don't have to do anything, but just pick up the phone, right? If somebody somebody's calling in, have someone ready to pick up the phone, take their order over the phone, and then you can even schedule them for their consultation right then and there. And you can even do that online, right? Get them to purchase on the second page. We usually call it a thank you page. There's a schedule calendar on there where people can actually just go ahead and book their appointment for whenever
for their service.
Yeah.
At this point, it's already like a service, right?
Yeah.
Which was great. Now, the other thing that we ended up doing is that as much as we wanted, obviously, to keep that special promo for each day, we knew that, hey, people might not see this text or email until 2 days later, and they really wanted the first thing.
Sure.
So, of course, at this point, we had already built like all the anticipation, right? That we could. We had advertised it online. We put it on social media. We told people that this was coming up. We even did like a fun thing where like almost like an advent calendar of some sort where they could actually like see what was happening. But we also knew that, hey, not everybody checks their email or the text messages as often. So even though it was day 5, they could potentially still buy what happened in day 1. And honestly, like, who cares at this point? Like, it is still fun and you want to make the illusion of this happening. But if somebody wants to buy the special for day 1, just do it, right?
Yeah,
You're just opening up a lot more opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, so that one was really great. I think looking at our stats here, we had and this client was a little bit of a smaller client. They had about 34 RSVPs, and 24 of those people actually did start treatment, which was pretty cool. And so I think we totaled that around a little bit less than about $14,000 within a 10-day period. So a little bit extra side revenue, you know, that they weren't expecting. That was all done pretty much virtually for the most part. Yeah, this was all virtual. Like, I think they did have a few people that bought in-house whenever, like, it's an add-on for a service that they had already committed to. But for the most part, everything was online. Like, the client themselves, they didn't really have to do anything extra. For sure. And just to clarify, when I say that there was 34 RSVPs, what I mean by that is that because we were promoting all this stuff with a few days in advance, we were telling people, hey, RSVP, kind of like sign up. And we were just, since that's what people are used to, RSVP, that's the wording that we use, but essentially they were signing up for our newsletter so they can make sure that they were getting all the promotions every single day.
Daily.
Yeah, they were being notified daily.
Yeah, because you don't want to like send out like every single day like text to your entire list, because you can spam them and people might get put off of that. So we did give them the opportunity. What we did end up doing as well was like by day 5, we sent out another mass one just to let them know, like, hey, there's still opportunity. If you did not RSVP for your daily notifications, there's still an opportunity, right? Don't forget. But other than that, we only send it out to specifically the people, like daily, to the people that signed up.
And a lot of this was like internal marketing. So like you said, this wasn't like a super big client, but they did something that was like very unique. And we really wanted to highlight this one in particular because it was all online and it was just like a little bit different. It was like a little spin off to like the holiday, the 12 days of Christmas or whatever.
Yes.
And so this was pretty fun.
And it was also really fun because what they ended up doing is that they bought one of those little elves on the shelf. And so for every day there was a different promo. So the little elf was, you know, like the whole concept is like he's a little bit mischievous. And so we kind of, the client actually helped us take pictures of the elf kind of holding a Botox bottle or a syringe or something, right? Or like they were found like in the front desk or using the cool sculpting machine. Like this client got really, really creative with it and even had him done a little facial. Like it was so much hilarious. Fun. So that really helped to kind of like build the anticipation, build social media. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool. So the second client did a Black Friday promotion.
Yeah, so actually this one client did a whole like week of Black Friday, and that is the best recommendation that I can give somebody that has a small business. Don't focus just solely on Black Friday. Same as with our other example of the 12 days of Christmas. If somebody wants to buy something that was in day one, we still obviously gave them the opportunity. Same with this. If you can actually do your Black Friday sale, even if it's a few days before, you're really going to win because people might have already planned specifically for Black Friday that are not part of your services, and you want to give them that opportunity.
And honestly, I mean, and you kind of noticed this specifically in 2020, 2021, where, you know, obviously a lot of stores were closed. Is like, hey, Black Friday wasn't just Black Friday. It was kind of like Black Week almost because, you know, you could get all the Black Friday specials prior to Friday. And honestly, it's not a bad way to go because the sooner you can get people to purchase, then you're going to be at an advantage because you're actually getting to that sooner than the other person. And so that's actually definitely something that we recommend to be implemented as well. And so this particular client, I believe they were a kind of more of a fat reduction office.
So it's called body sculpting.
Yeah, body sculpting. Do you recall if it was Cool Sculpting or M Sculpt or what it was?
I think it was because they've done this a few times. So they do this on a yearly basis. So they started with Cool Sculpting and then added M Sculpt as part of it as well.
Gotcha. And so I believe they ran a promo of buy one, get one
half off.
Yeah. And so that was the specific promotion that they ran for Black Friday, and they got 41 appointments and then 15 people actually started treatment, which turned into
33,900. Yeah. So almost 34 grand right there. For a couple of days, that is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say it was a week, right? A week, almost 34 grand made within a single week. And so, I mean, that was actually pretty awesome. I know our client was actually really excited about making that happen. And so that was really, really cool.
Yeah. And that's why they do that now, like every year. And this was all made specifically for their internal people. So this was not actually like advertised like with paid advertising. It was just with organic people, which is kind of one of the things that we say, like all of this is money that is being left on the table because we're just reactivating people that you already have, whether they came back for more, another area that they wanted to treat, or they had a consultation but they never went through with it. Whatever the case might have been, like it's just money that was sitting there and now they got it.
For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. And so I think, I mean, obviously that's super important. You know, you can't leave money on the table.
Yeah. And this is just to prove the power of text and email marketing. And
that was all we did. So in turn, like emails, text messages, some social media posts, and that was pretty much it.
I mean, they do have an amazing streamlined process. And so that's one of the things that I know they do amazingly well. They have their staff really well trained. So that's why like everybody that actually came in for a consultation ended up actually purchasing. So I think it was 41 appointments, 16 consults, and 15 won. So that was actually really good. They have their processes in place.
Yeah. And I'll share actually a quick impromptu one, if it's okay. because I just remembered this is a client from a long time ago, actually, and they did a really good job. I was always really impressed about their Black Friday promotion because they were doing a crazy promotion. I can't recall what it was, but I know. But they actually, so we did this massive advertising promotion. This was all purely advertising, and she was already known for this too. Like she was already known for like, the best deal that we ever give is on Black Friday, you know? And so they already had an amazing promotion going on. So we did a lot of advertising for people to opt in so that if they wanted to know what the promotion was going to be, they had to opt in. And so people opted in, they scheduled, but the only time that they could actually purchase was in person Friday morning. And so like she was, I mean, you know, there's better ways of doing it now, but in that time, the way that she did it was that you had to come in and purchase on the spot. And so, and I think she was accepting calls as well, but I mean, she actually told me that she gets people like, and it happened that one time that we did the ad for her where she just had a line of people waiting outside. And like, and again, it's not a day where you're doing treatment. It's a day where you're doing sales. Like we usually say, hey, it's sales week. It's a sales day. Yeah. Like they come in, they purchase, they schedule the appointment and they're gone, right? It's not a day where obviously treatment is going on. You have to be very focused on, hey man, it's all about sales today, you know, and the whole team is on top of it. And so again, it obviously looked really cool for her and for her social media and all this other stuff that she had a line of people outside of her office just waiting for her to open, similar to like, you know,
an actual Black Friday, like huge promo.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so that was actually really, really cool. And it was for body sculpting as well. So that was a really interesting way of how she went about it.
That is awesome. And that actually really ties in with our next one, because this was all about a cool week event. And it was with the same concept in mind. This whole week was set for sales. Like it was just consultations and sales. They didn't really do any treatments during that week. Everything was scheduled for a later time. Yeah.
So this last one was a cool week that actually happened. And so the client brought in, we scheduled 51 appointments, and I'm not sure how many consultations, I don't know if you knew how many consultations, but 27 people actually purchased treatment. And this is by far the best case study that we've ever had. This client within it, I believe it was a 4-day period, made $118,000. And it was ridiculous.
This was amazing. And I think this really ties in with everything that we've been saying for the past couple episodes. They had not only an amazing promotion, but they had obviously great marketing, but they also had their staff in place. Like as you see here, like this was 27 people that bought, which means that they had a great system to upsell, for sure, to sell really good packages to make them that much amount of money.
Yeah, and I think if I recall correctly, so what they did is that it was a full week, right? So again, when you're doing a full week, all you're doing is just giving people more opportunity to purchase, right? Not if you do it one day, a lot of the times, it might be difficult because, people are on vacation, they might not be around, they can't get to it because of work, family, whatever it might be. And so if you do a whole week, we usually recommend it. And we've seen the best results when it's a week. And again, you're giving more people the opportunity to purchase. And so the way that they did it is that they did schedule consultations. And so it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday consultations. And then on Thursday, they had consultations as well, but then they had the actual party because they did do an event, like an actual party event. And they did that on Thursday evening. And that's where they kind of had some more like fun activities going on. I think they had like one of those spinning roulette wheels where like people could do all that stuff. The Wheel of Fortune stuff. They had goodie bags. So like if people came in, and it didn't matter if it was throughout the entire week, they came in, they had a goodie bag, right? They had I think they really just focused on what's the best promotion that we can do on cool sculpting. They did that. And then obviously the more you buy, the better of a discount that you got. So I think that's why people came in and they purchased really big packages, which turned into 6 figures. And it wasn't really that many people, 27 people. But obviously they were incentivized to purchase bigger packages because they weren't going to get this kind of pricing any other time of the year.
Yeah. The more you bought, the more you saved. And for them, that was amazing. Now, the other thing that they did is a great experience for every single one of them. Kind of like you said, they had goodie bags, really good goodie bags for everybody that actually went to the event. We helped them set up the entire thing where it was like, okay, what is going to be your incentive for people to RSVP? What's going to be your incentive for people to actually show up? What's going to be your incentive for this? Like, we went through everything, and they had amazing, I mean, they had a really good budget for this as well, but they just had like an amazing way of setting up an experience for a client.
For sure.
Which was, I think, also what really benefited somebody to actually purchase.
And so going back to like the incentives, right? Like they had that, which was really, really great. And so they had an incentive for people just to show up. It's like, hey, if you just show up, you don't have to buy anything. You show up, you're going to get this. And so I think that's when everybody was getting the goodie bags. But then again, you got to give people an incentive to actually make an investment. And so if they actually did start treatment and they were entered to win, I believe it was a free treatment, but then they also had another one where it was like,
it was like a bag.
A Louis Vuitton bag.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I can't recall if that was just the actual...
and it was full of products.
Yeah. So it was a Louis Vuitton bag. It was full of products. But to win that, I don't know if everybody that attended was entered to win or if it was just the people that started treatment.
I think it was people that started treatment, and depending of what you bought or something like that, like you could get more chances, like more raffle tickets.
Oh, nice.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so at the end of the day, like the way we like to think about these prizes is that you want to do a prize that maybe has mass appeal. And so a lot of the times, like even when people do, oh, you'll get a treatment for free. Well, then you're limiting your market to the people that maybe already want it. But at the end of the day, like if you do a prize that maybe has mass appeal, in this case, they did a Louis Vuitton bag, like they invested good money into something that was going to be really great, right? And that a lot of had mass appeal. Like a lot of people were going to want that, right? And so again, you got this if you started treatment. And so I think that was just a really unique way of doing it. And again, inside there's also elements that go back to your practice, which is a bunch of skincare products, which was really, really cool.
Yes. And I believe they attach this to something else. So in the last episode, we talk about like what you can do to get the most out of your event. And so what they did with this is that like after the whole event, they actually had a mini event afterwards, which was now about Botox and fillers. And it was also a buy to bank. Yeah. So like anybody that came in, whether they bought or they didn't, they were invited as special guests to this other event where they could buy to bank. And it was like the most insane like Botox filler promo I've ever heard.
Filler. Yeah, it was derma fillers. And it's like, hey, the more you buy, the better savings you're going to get. And obviously you're banking these for future use, right? And they did about like another 50 grand with that, if I recall correctly.
Yes. Of course, it was a more limited amount of people that were entered into this, but they still did amazingly well to them.
Really good. Yeah.
And so that is another way that you can kind of like get everything kind of like a really nice ecosystem inside your business.
Yeah. So that's really good. Hopefully you are excited after listening to some of these things, and now you're aware of some of the possibilities, of what could be done if you just plan accordingly and you make things happen for yourself, right? So go out there and crush it, guys. Go
out there and crush it. This is going to be amazing. This is not the end of our event series. We have one more for you guys where we're going to be talking about the rookie mistakes.
Yeah. And so we wanted to do an episode of just highlighting the typical mistakes that we tend to see in the industry when it comes to putting these events together. And like, we want you to avoid them, right? Yes. And a lot of the times they're really simple, right? But again, there's things that just kind of like go by the wayside, or maybe you don't really put too much attention on. You don't think it's a big deal, but they end up having big impact in the success of your event. So we're going to be highlighting that on our next episode. So make sure to stay tuned.
Yes, make sure to stay tuned. And of course, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.